Welcome to today's deep dive. We constantly hear about this hidden financial underworld in the news, right? We know it's out there. But how does it actually work? How on earth do these massive sums of hidden, untaxed money get scrubbed clean and mixed right back into the legitimate economy? Well, let's dive into it because today we are breaking down the exact playbooks used to convert black money into white. We're looking at the actual mechanics of the shadow economy straight from our source material. So here's the agenda for our explainer today. We're going to organize these tactics into clear, easy-to-follow playbooks. First, we'll look at the anatomy of black money. Then, hiding in plain sight. Third, we're going to explore rigging the financial system. Fourth, modern and systemic tactics. And finally, we'll wrap up with the price of illegality. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the anatomy of black money. Let's get our foundational concept straight. Before we get into the wild tactics, we really need to define exactly what we're dealing with. Black money is simply this: funds where income tax and all other mandatory taxes have been completely dodged. It's hidden wealth. That's it. The whole goal of whoever holds this money is to keep it totally off the government's radar. So the crucial point is understanding the core conflict here. The entire shadow economy revolves around this one magic trick. On one side, you've got black money. It's hidden, it's untaxed, and it's highly illegal. On the flip side, you have white money, which is fully declared, taxed, and perfectly legal. Basically, every scheme or loophole we're about to explore has one single goal: crossing that bridge. They want to magically transport funds from the shadows straight into the light without the authorities ever batting an eye. Moving right along to Section 2, hiding in plain sight. This is our first major playbook. In this playbook, offenders take their invisible, illegal cash and tie it to everyday physical items. Our source data highlights three massive culprits here: Benami Saman, real estate, and gold and jewelry. Now, why are these so popular? Well, they're tangible. You can touch them. And most importantly, they are super liquid, meaning you can easily sell them off later. First up is Benami Saman. This literally translates to without name, and the tactic is simple but crazy effective. An offender buys property or shares, but, and here's the catch, they legally put the paperwork in someone else's name. By doing this, the true owner completely hides their connection to the wealth. It's basically a temporary holding cell for their black money. Then, when the coast is clear, they organize the sale of that asset. The cash from that sale flows back into the system, now disguised as perfectly legitimate white money. And this plays right into the broader power of tangible wealth. Imagine just taking a mountain of illegal cash and quietly locking it into a plot of land, a flat, or even heavy gold jewelry. Boom, that black money is now frozen inside a physical object. When the dust finally settles, you just turn around, sell that flat or gold, and take the payment through standard formal banking channels. And just like that, your illegal cash suddenly has a pristine legal paper trail. It's wild. Okay, let's slow down for Section 3, rigging the financial system. Now, what's really interesting about this next playbook is how we shift from physical goods into highly orchestrated, systemic crimes. Enter the shell company. This is a total classic, a highly sophisticated evasion tool. Let's walk through it step by step. First, the perpetrators create phantom businesses that literally only exist on paper. Step 2, they inject their black money into these fake companies and disguise it as an investment. But here's the real kicker, Step 3. They start generating fake invoices to create this massive paper trail of business deals that never actually happened. By Step 4, this heavily inflates the company's account balance, effectively creating an illusion of a thriving, totally legal business to justify all this sudden wealth. Then we have to talk about the infamous Hawala network. This is a way to move money entirely off the traditional banking grid. First, a person enters this illicit network. Then local brokers transfer the true value of the funds across different geographic locations, honestly, often right across international borders, without a single physical banknote ever moving through a regulated bank. By the time that money emerges on the other side, its origins are so deeply buried that it can just confidently be presented to the local economy as white money. Now, there's this really fascinating behavioral tactic mentioned in our source material: chote chote hisse. It means small fractions or tiny pieces. It's this creative art of taking massive, glaring sums of illegal cash and breaking them down into pieces so incredibly small that they won't trigger a single alarm in the financial system. In the financial world, they call this bank structuring. It is remarkably sneaky. Instead of walking in and depositing one giant red flag amount of cash, the criminal breaks it down into tiny, undetectable fractions. They keep every single deposit strictly below the bank's legal reporting limits. Once that money is safely inside the banking system, it mixes perfectly with regular legal funds. From there, the individual is free to make completely clean withdrawals using standard ATMs or normal checks. They just pull it right back out nice and clean. Which brings us to Section 4, modern and systemic tactics. This is where the perpetrators look upward and outward. They start exploiting technology, borders, and even government policies. Historically, the digital and offshore escape meant shifting black money into foreign tax havens, to keep it perfectly safe and hidden. But today, they exploit tech. Decentralized, semi-anonymous cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have become the absolute go-to modern vessel for shifting illicit wealth far, far beyond the reach of local authorities. And ironically, sometimes the government itself accidentally provides the loophole. Enter tax amnesty schemes like the 2016 income declaration scheme noted in our source. Now, these programs are meant to bring hidden wealth into the formal economy by charging a strict tax penalty. But for serious offenders, this very policy is just exploited as a highly convenient state-sanctioned washing machine to formally and finally turn their black money white. Finally, Section 5, the price of illegality. We need to ground ourselves here. Because while we've been mapping out the how of these financial tactics, I want to be crystal clear. This is absolutely not a how-to guide. It is a severe warning. The source material leaves absolutely no room for interpretation on this. Ye sab tarike galat aur illegal hai. Saza milni chahiye. These methods are wrong, they are illegal, and those who use them deserve punishment. Real estate masking, phantom shell companies, Havila networks, it is all tax evasion. Engaging with black money carries immense legal risks and massive life-altering penalties. When billions of dollars are hidden, untaxed, and funneled through these elaborate playbooks, we really have to pause and ask ourselves, what is the true cost of the shadow economy on our society's development? Every single piece of untaxed black money is a stolen school, a missing hospital, or unbuilt infrastructure that everyday citizens desperately need. Understanding exactly how this shadow economy works is literally the very first step in dismantling it. Thank you so much for joining me for today's breakdown. Keep questioning the systems around you, and I'll catch you next time.